both in the Torah. Shavuos is called Atzeres, and Shmini Atzeres. Shmini Atzeres. Shmini Atzeres for sure says the Torah. It says Shavuos Atzeres. Well, Chazal.
It's like a nickname.
Yeah, Chazal for sure call it Atzeres. Yeah, that's a Chazal. It says Atzeres Nidon Al Peres Elah, the Mishnah in Rosh Hashanah. In any case, they're both called Atzeres. What does Atzeres mean? It means like to hold back. Atzur could even mean like the prison, because Atzur is a person in prison, but Atzur means to hold back. So what they have in common is the following. They both follow a period of 50 days. 49, 50. Where do you see this? Shavuos follows the 49 days of from the Sears Omer. And if you count the first day of Pesach, it's actually 50. And Shmini Atzeres follows also a 50-day period, which begins with Rosh Chodesh Elul. So we both follow a period of 50 days. When it always means you follow a period, it means it's a lead-up. And we see that's for sure like that. From Rosh Chodesh Elul until Shmini Atzeres is leading up. And that means that if Shmini Atzeres for us in Simchas Torah is like the highest level from all those days. Same with Shavuos. We start with Pesach and build ourselves up. You see that the korban of the Omer is barley, and the korban of Shavuos is Shtei which is wheat. Show us that, and barley is the food of animals. The Jewish people not strong like animals, but a lower level. And then they reach the higher level in Shavuos. So both of those have that in common. Another thing they have in common is that there are no special mitzvahs. Pesach you have matzah, and Sukkot you have Rosh Hashanah you have the shofar, and you have fasting, and Sukkot you have the sukkah and the Arba. Both of these times there's no mitzvah. No mitzvah on Shavuos. Good, we have minhagim on Shavuos. You stay up all night, or eat milchiks, or other things, but there's no real special mitzvah for Shavuos. So, and also we find that Shmini Atzeres there's no real mitzvah, but we make some Torah, but it's not a special mitzvah to do on that day. So it says that it's called the Yichud HaGomer. In other words, the whole idea about these 2 days is the Yichud HaGomer, be totally connected to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And now we see it clearly by Shmini Atzeres, because it says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, you brought all these korbanos for the Goyim, the 70 parim, now stay for me, stay just for me alone, and living together with Hashem. So we see that's the idea of Yichud HaGomer, and so it applies to Shavuos also. Klal Yisrael came totally devoted to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And she says also that Nasa v'Nishma, that's the secret, right? When Yidden said Nasa v'Nishma, see the Torah. So he said that, and it says in Chazal that Migila Raz Lebanu, he told him the secret of Nasa v'Nishma, which is it's the words of the Malchei Shabbos. The Malachim say Nasa v'Nishma. But how did they know it? So, it says like this, that Nasa v'Nishma means a total devotion. Nothing else important. Only HaKadosh Baruch Hu, only Avodas Hashem. So the Malachim are on that level all the time. They're totally devoted to Hashem. And do whatever Hashem does. If Hashem wants, they do everything perfectly. Now the Yidden cannot be able to bring up the Malachim. The Chiddush is that even in the lower level that we're on, we could also do Nasa v'Nishma and devote ourselves to Hashem, at the same extent Malachim, as much as we can. So that's the ruz. The secret was that it even could be done by man, not only by the Malachim. They realized. Now, the union of Pesach and Shavuos is considered like Erisin and Asur. I mean, who says this? Eretz Yisrael means it's like first part of the marriage is on Pesach, and the second part is the Nisuin. The consummation of the marriage is on Shavuos. And he says, "Couple like Harkigigas, Hashem put them out on the top of their heads." So we say, why they put it said, if you accept the Torah, fine. If not, he will be a burial. So there are many interpretations to that, of course, in the contradiction with Nasa and Ishma. But he learns the Pshat is like a chuppah. It was a chuppah. That was the Nisuin of Klal Yisrael. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu, again, the Yichud HaGomer reaching the highest level on Shavuos. Another point that he makes is that it says, Ono Hashem Oshianu, Ono Hashem Atzlichanu. There too you have the 51st. Nun Aleph is 51. And that's the who says it's a remnants to Nun Aleph, the noise Nun Aleph. So again here the two times is the 51st day starting from Pesach, is Shavuos, and the 51st day of Chodesh Elul is Yismiyat Teretz. So like this. On Hashem Hoshiana also it goes like this. The 50 days in the time of Rosh Hashanah and Kippur, that's Yira. Yira is Survey Ra, keep away from the bear. So that on that it says Hoshiana, and it goes on Hoshia, save us from the bear. But the days between Pesach and Shavuos are different. That's more with Avram. The king. Hashem took us out of Mitzrayim, and it was the Matan Torah, was tremendous Avram for HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Klal Yisrael, and therefore the Avoda is Asei Tov, to do good, and that's Hatzlichanu, that everything that we do should be good, should be successful. So that's our relation with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, especially on Shavuos, and we should feel. Now, of course, Shavuos, the main thing is Torah. Learning Torah, that's our job in life. So, have your drasha, this is Drashas Mishmar Levi, probably some of them, I presume. But, yeah, because that's this one, Mordechai Schulzinger, his son, he has a son, I think that was, so, the second Chedek, actually. He has a shmooze here. Seems the shmooze he gave it a Beis Yaakov. Very powerful shmooze, unbelievable. Yeah. It says like this, in Parshas Yitzavim, no, Parshas Vayelech. Parshas Vayelech, it says that when I'm bringing to Eretz Yisrael, I'll bring it to the Adorash and Bati, I'll bring it to the land that I promised, Eretz Yisrael, and you'll eat, and you'll be satisfied, and you'll fatten up. They're going to turn to Avodah Zarah. Yeah. B'ni Hatzuni, we're going to get Hashem very angry. The Hafer is Brisi, nullify the bris. Very serious. Then it's what's going to happen. The Yochid also rose Rabbos V'tzoros. A lot of very bad things will happen. Then, after that, B'yonza Ashir Azos L'fanav L'Ei, the Shira, meaning in the Torah, will say, will testify, Ki lo yisashachach mipi zara. It will never be forgotten. So there's three stages. First stage is that the Yidden will go after Avodah Zarah. They'll turn away. And then they'll be Yanat Sunnis, they'll get Hashem angry. After that comes there'll be a lot of tzaros, all language. And then it comes those Yishachach, B'Pizar, they won't forget. He asks, how can it be if the people can be that bad? And then he says, Torah will never forget. It's Torah. Rashi says it. It's a promise that the Torah will never be forgotten from Zara Lakamri. Totally forgotten. Never. So, the question was, who is this going to be for? If those people who did the Avodah Zarah and all the Torah, so So the answer is that there's going to be two groups. One group will be those who go off the path, and the other ones are the ones who they're devoted to Hashem in all situations. They didn't go off the path, and that's when it says the Torah will never be forgotten. It's for those people, not the ones who the first part applies to. They do have a Zara and they have all the tzaras. Now it brings down Brisker told the story that in the year, it was actually in 1940, Tafshin, Second World began. So he met with Rav Chaim Ozer. So I see from here, that Rav Chaim Ozer was nifter in the time of the war, but he didn't die from the war. That's what I understand. Rav Chaim Ozer was in Vilna. So they discussed the problems. Everything's getting worse and worse. Again, it's before the war, but things are getting worse and worse. So now, when Brisker told about a gathering in Tavish Samachay, which is 1905 in St. Petersburg, and all the Ziknei Gedolei Hador, all the great Tzaddikim and Canaan and the Chachamim, they all got together. Why? Because they wanted the boys in yeshiva to learn the Russian language. They were making a decree on that. And the question is, and there were different opinions. So, in the middle of the gathering, Rav Chaim Brisk said, Rav Chaim Brisk, they were talking about the Brisk Rav telling the story, but Rav Chaim Brisk was at that meeting, and he sent a telegram to the Chafetz Chaim, you have to come right away, it's very serious. So Chafetz Chaim comes. Chafetz Chaim in 1905, and he died about close to 30 years later than that. And he lived to, the whole question how old the Chafetz Chaim was. When his daughter was nifter, so they sat shiva over here by Yerushalayim, the daughter of the Chafetz Chaim, So the whole discussion about how old the Chafetz Chaim. Generally we say it was 95, some say even older. In any case, so he was then in his 70. So he says, so he comes to the meeting and he says, I received a very urgent telegram that my daughter is lying here on the table of the operating table, and they're about to do an operation to cut from her pieces. He says, so why we say, Emor lachachma akosia, the Torah is considered like our sister. He says, the Torah is our sister, and I'm judging here, and so I have, in this situation, I have to do something. And obviously they decided that we're not going to give in to the language. The Torah has to be complete and pure. And so the Brisker Rav said, at that meeting was Rav Chaim Brisker. He had a Chumash Dvarim, and he brought these psukim that we mentioned earlier. Those Yishuchavli Pizaro will never be forgotten in Torah week, and we can't compromise on anything. We just have to do it in the highest level. So Chaim said like this. He says, Hashem Yisrael promised Moshe Rabbeinu. Oh, that's the point I mentioned before. There will be these kind of people and these kind of people. Ones will turn away to Avodah Zarah, and Hashem is angry at them. And they won't have Torah. But there will be people not like that. And people who will be devoted to Hashem, despite it all. And once Shiva Zos forever ate, the Torah will never be forgotten from the Jewish people. The Torah it's a promise. See, because there's a bunch of Shiva Zos that the Torah itself will answer and say that'll never be forgotten. And of course, it's the people who are really devoted to Torah with no compromise. That was the point.
They were worried that learning Russian would
be like a compromise in yeshiva. It's like so he's going to bring here that there was a more famous story from before that. In the year Tafresh Beis, would be late 1800s, in the time of the Beis Halevi. So this story was by Chaim Brisker in 1905. Late 1800s was the story of the Beis Halevi, the father of Reb Chaim. The same, and they wanted to learn. He says, so I understood that was the Russian language. This one he says, Limudei Chol. They wanted to bring secular studies into the yeshiva of Balazhin. Otherwise, the Russians said they're going to close the yeshiva. So the Beis Halevi said, oh, so here is the example. It says the time of the Churban Beis HaMikdash that the Kohanim had the keys to the Mikdash, and they threw it in the air, and like a hand came down from Shemayim Chazal and accepted the keys. So therefore, the same thing with the Yeshiva of Balazhin. They closed because of it. It's a well-known story, and because of that, it opened up all kinds of other yeshivas, tells, covenants, Labatka, and the Torah remained. But that's the promise. Lo Shilachad Pizarro. But again, he's saying 20 months Menkir is not only won't be forgotten, but it's only not going to be forgotten if we are on the purest and highest levels. If we compromise, he said it's not. It's not going to remain that way. The truth is, we see that today in Eretz Yisrael. The rabbis will not compromise with that. And yet you see, it's like a repetitive story. Now, he brings here a story from Rabbi Michal Feinstein. So who was the son-in-law of the Brisker Rav. He was lived not too long ago. He learned in the Mir Yeshiva between the two wars, First World and Second World. So once there was like Ben Asmanim, they went to a vacation place. And one person there was a very modest person, a very holy person, and he grew a big masmid. All he has is Torah. Yeah, he says he hardly has any connection to anybody, only with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, with the Torah. Yeah, he says in the beginning he wrote Svarim without even the name. He called the Sefer Chazon Ish, but nobody knew who he was, because it's his abbreviation, from Yeshayahu, Aleph Yud Shin. So they didn't know who he was. Now, so then, it seems he wrote his name in Russian, because there was a rule in Russia, you had to write the name on the Sefer. So anyway, so what happened? So his brother took him, before the war, in 1933, came to Eretz Yisrael, and he built up the Torah. And see, this is the Chaim Ozer, and the Brisker Rav was also very, very great. But I guess the difference between the Brisker Rav and the Chazon Ish was like this. Probably both of them, when it came, they were Gedolei Torah, and I think when important things had to be discussed, the Brisker Rav was sure involved. But in terms of building, it was the Chazon Ish who built up the city of Bnei Brak, made it to a city of Torah. So that was, a little different than Brisker Rav. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu makes sure that in every generation is going to be tzaddikim. It says in Chazal, HaKadosh Baruch Hu saw that the tzaddikim were very few, and there he planted them in all the generations. He says, we see this in Hashem promised us in all the generations. He brings here. The Klal Yisrael is, on the one hand, see, that's what he's saying. That pasuk is always going to be Mekuyim. They went after the Avodah Zarah and V'niyatzuni, but not only them, all the time. It's a door chashuch, a dark generation, but the other side of it, you see the Torah flowering, and that's for sure true in our time. Torah, it's unbelievable. I mean, see, I can appreciate it, Baruch Hashem. People out of anybody here is older than I am, but I'm just saying, I remember what Torah was like, 60 years ago. It was America. Hardly anybody Torah knowledge. People didn't know how halacha is. There was some Rabbanim who had come from Europe, but it just wasn't the way it's supposed to be. And Baruch Hashem, today it's just unbelievable how many cities in America that are cold and yeshivas. I told a story about Dallas, Texas. I was in Dallas, Texas, exactly the summer of 1964, exactly 50 years ago. I was there for Shabbos. And they told me the following. In Dallas, Texas, there's 30,000 Jews and not even 10 Shomer Shabbos. Today in Dallas, there's Kohen, there's Yaakovs, there's Ibn Torah. It's just all over. You see a tremendous, regeneration of the Klal Yisrael. And that's it. Those Shechach Torah Pizarro, that promise that Hashem made, that it will not be forgotten. And it's those people who the Gordon knows. So the Chofetz Chaim says this. He said, quotes a piece of Yeshua. He says, this is a safe one, it's a real safe one. In fact, I think it's not in the Kol Kisvei, that one of the collections, Chofetz Chaim's works. I don't think it's in there. But it's a little bit again for you. So he says, Chofetz Chaim is talking now. I can't say what year it is all about. He says we see in certain places that like the Torah is somehow being neglected. They take away the children from Torah Hashem. They say like this. Chofetz Chaim said that he would never say Yimach Shemo about a Yid, except for 1 year. The one who tried to get him to be a master, to get him away from Torah. And I recently heard a story about Omer Cutler, like it's out of Bracha. He was in Yeshiva Slobodka, and he had a sister that kept writing him letters. You're going to be a nothing. You're such a great mind. You could go out into the world. You could be, I think maybe I mentioned Albert Einstein. You could be really something in the world, and your name would be famous, and you're going to sit in the yeshiva. You'll be a nothing. That's what you get writing with a tremendous test. In those days, it was a big test. So Baruch Hashem, his name became great. That's what she was saying. So he says, the Chofetz Chaim says, the Torah is really going down. And we try to find out what the reason is. There are various reasons. And the main reason is a lack of Amunah. People don't have Amunah, but Olam HaNetzach, to believe in the Olam Haba, to believe in the Schar Ba'onesh, coming in Mashiach, all the promises of the Torah. And that gave the strength to Klal Yisrael to carry through all these years of Golus. But they gave up their lives for Hashem. So he says that's where Yidden always were. He says it was better for a father to see his son slaughtered in front of his eyes on Kiddush Hashem and return his neshama in purity to Hashem than to see him in the highest, from the worldly point of view, the highest levels in the world, being successful this, successful that, but not a Ben Torah. But today, there's a weakness in that. And he says, Chaim also says how important it is to learn the dinim of korbanos. Get ready to korbanos. Now, it's very important thing what Chaim says over here. He says, in the early generations, when everything was the way it was supposed to be. And we know that even in our time, so 100 years ago in Europe, there were cities, there was no such thing as a person who wasn't Shomer Shabbos. There just wasn't. I spoke to someone who lived in Hungary. There was no such thing. And it's well known in Baghdad, time Ben Ish Chai was nifter a little over 100 years ago, there was no such thing. You had to control every year how to keep mitzvahs. And privately, so he didn't have available. So he says, so that's even pretty recent. We're talking about the earlier generations. The Kol Klal Yisrael, the Chofetz Chaim says, Kol Klal Yisrael Omdu Ma'amadim, they stood on their ways, or Avos Masru of name, the fathers gave it over to the children, the basic principles of Amunah, and the children accepted it with love. Yeah. Everything that was given to them from their forefathers. So then he says a very interesting thing. I don't know if I ever saw this before. He says, in those days it was not so necessary to bring the Geula. He says because the Yidden were very devoted and they really kept the Torah the way it was supposed to be. So he says, and therefore it was good for them to stay in Golus longer, to have more schus. He says, ain't there schus, but I told every generation that was devoted to Hashem, even in difficult times, it had a tremendous, it keeps adding schus. As much as Hashem wants to bring the Mashiach, but for that reason, he didn't have. But today he says it's not Shayach. Today he has to bring it. Chofetz Chaim spoke about that. It has to be close. It can't be that. See, we live like, okay, Chofetz Chaim said it, hopefully. But we have to live that. Chofetz Chaim said you have to live. It could be any time now. And he's saying that, he brings sources to say that it's going to be two extreme groups before the Mashiach comes. So he says, Shnei minei sugi aroshim, in the end of days, both will have to bring the Gula. Those with the Maaseh Matovim, and as much as they suffer, they keep the Torah anyway, and the people who are getting worse and worse. He says, what was it? In Hazina, he says somewhere here that so both groups are going to bring, and he says, which group do you want to belong to? You know, the people who are getting further and further away, they're also bringing Mashiach. But you want to belong to the group that's bringing it in the positive. So he says it's a pella. It's a pella. He says a pasuk in Iyov. You close Tomim Day. The wonders of Hashem. After these years, the 5 years of the war, all of a sudden it's towards increasing. So he says that Kosh Baruch promised us. We'll see this in all the generations. There's no question that